afternoon. This is the Good Friday afternoon Vespers of the taking down of Christ from the cross, which happens at the end of the Gospel. And then we process with the icon, the woven icon of Christ entombed at the end of the service, the Apostica. So this is a beautiful service, and I'm so grateful that we were able to decorate the groupion and have it prepared for our Lord. You can follow us as usual at Ages Initiatives has a text of the service, and we do invite you to pray with us. Forgive me, brothers and sisters.
God forgive us all.
Blessed is our God, always, now and ever, to the ages of ages.
Amen. Come, let us worship and bow down before God our King. Come, let us worship and bow down before Christ our King and our God. Come, let us worship and bow down before him, Christ our King and our God. Bless the Lord, O my soul. O Lord my God, you are magnified exceedingly. You have clothed yourself with thanksgiving and majesty. You covered yourself with light as with a garment. You stretch out the heavens like a curtain. You are he who covers his upper chambers with waters. He makes the clouds his means of approach. Who walks on the winds of the wind. Who makes his angels spirits and his ministers a flame of fire. He established the earth on its stable foundation. It shall not be moved unto ages. A deep like a garment is his covering. The waters shall stand above the mountains. At your rebuke they shall flee. At the sound of your thunder they shall be afraid. The mountains rise up and the plains sink down to the place you have founded for them. You set a boundary that they should not pass over, neither shall they return to cover the earth. You are he who sends springs into the valleys. The waters shall pass between the mountains. They shall give drink to all the wild animals of the field. The wild asses shall quench their thirst. The birds of heaven shall dwell beside them. They shall sing from the midst of the rocks. You are he who waters the mountains from his higher places. The earth shall be satisfied with the fruit of your works. You are he who causes grass to grow for the cattle, and the green plant for the service of man, to bring forth bread from the earth, and wine gladdens the heart of man, to brighten his face with oil, and strengthen his man's heart. The trees of the plain shall be full of fruit, the cedars of Lebanon which you planted. There the sparrows shall make their nest. The house of Aaron takes lead among them. The high mountains are for the deer, the cliffs a refuge for the rabbit. He has made the moon for seasons, the sun knows its setting. You established darkness, and it was night, wherein all the wild animals of the forest will prowl about. The young lions roar and snatch their prey and seek their food from God. The sun rises, and they gather together, and they shall be put to bed in their dens. Man shall go out to his work, to his labor, until the evening. O Lord, all your works shall be magnified greatly. You made all things in wisdom. The earth was filled with your creation. There is the great and spacious sea. The creeping things are there without number. The living things are there, both small and great. There the ships pass through. There is the dragon you formed to play therein. All things wait upon you, that you may give them their food in due season. When you give it to them, they gather it. When you open your hand, all things shall be filled with your goodness. But when you turn your face away, they shall be troubled. When you take away their breath, they die, and return again to their dust. You shall send forth your spirit, and they shall be created, and you shall renew the face of the earth. Let the glory of the Lord be forever. The Lord shall be glad in his works. He looks upon the earth and makes it tremble. He touches the mountains, and they smoke. I will sing to the Lord all my life. I will sing to my God for as long as I exist. May my words be pleasing to him, and I shall be glad in the Lord. May sinners cease from the earth and the lawless, so that they be no more. Bless the Lord, O my soul. The sun knows its time of setting. You established the darkness, and it was night. O Lord, your work shall be magnified greatly. You made all things in wisdom. Glory to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, both now and ever, and to the ages of ages. Amen. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Glory to you, O God. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Glory to you, O God. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Glory to you, O God. Our hope, O Lord. Glory to you.
In peace, let us pray to the Lord.
Lord, have mercy.
Peace and love and salvation of our souls, let us pray to the Lord.
Lord, have mercy.
Peace in the world, still the Holy Church of God, and unity of all, let us pray to the Lord.
Kyrie eleison.
This holy house under faith and in the fear of God, let us pray to the Lord.
Kyrie eleison.
I, some Orthodox Christians, let us pray to the Lord.
Lord, have mercy.
Juan Gracias, our presbytery, the diaconate of clergy and the people, let us pray to the Lord.
Lord, have mercy.
For our country, the president, all public services, pray to the Lord.
Kyrie eleison.
For the city we see that for the faith who live in them, let us pray to the Lord.
Kyrie eleison.
For favor with us and fruits here for peaceful times, let us pray to the Lord.
Lord, have mercy.
Those from our land, see never the sick and the suffer captives for their salvation, let us pray to the Lord.
Lord, have mercy.
For our eternal affliction, wrath, danger, distress, and from the peril of coronavirus against us, let us pray to the Lord.
Kyrie eleison.
For our brethren who lead the fight against the coronavirus, the doctors, the medical workers, and the scientists, let us pray to the Lord.
Kyrie eleison.
Help us, save us, have mercy, protect us, O God, by your grace.
with the men who were
Set a watch, O Lord, before my mouth and door, enclosure about my lips.
incline of my heart to evil words, to make excuses and sins.
The men who work lawlessness, and I will not join with their choice ones.
A righteous man shall correct me in mercy, and he shall reprove me, but let not the oil of the sinner anoint my head.
For my prayer shall be intense in the presence of their pleasures. Their judges are swallowed up by the rod.
They shall hear my words, for they are pleasant, as the clod of corn is dashed to pieces on the earth, so their bones are scattered beside the grave.
For my eyes, O Lord, are toward you, in you I hope, take not my soul away.
Keep me from the snares which they have set for me, and from the stumbling blocks of those who work lawlessness.
Sinners shall fall into their own net, I am alone until I escape.
I cry to the Lord with my voice I pray to the Lord.
I shall pour out my supplication before him, I shall declare my affliction in his presence.
When my spirit faded within me, then thou knewest my path.
For on the way I was going, they hid a trap for me.
I looked on my right hand, and saw that there was no one who knew me.
That to fail me, there was no one who cared for my soul.
I cried to you, O Lord, I said, you are my hope and my portion in the land of the living.
Attend to my supplication, for I was humbled exceedingly.
Deliver me from my persecutors, for they are stronger than I.
Make my soul out of prison and do give thanks to your name, O Lord.
The righteous shall wait for me until you reward me.
Out of the depths I have cried to you, O Lord, hear my voice.
Let your ears be attentive to the voice of my supplication.
You, Lord, just mark transgressions, O Lord, who would stand, for there is forgiveness with you. All creation was altered in awe as it saw you hanging on a cross, O Christ. The sun went dark in the foundations of the earth shook. All things affirm with you created all things. O Lord, who willingly endured it for us, glory to you.
Because of your love, Lord, I waited for you. My soul waited for your word. My soul hopes in the Lord. All creation was altered in awe as it saw you hanging on the cross, O Christ. The sun went dark and the foundations of the earth shook. All things suffered with you, who created all things. O Lord, who willingly endured for us, glory to you.
From the morning watch until night, from the morning watch is Israel's hope in the Lord. Why do the impious and unlawful people meditate on vain things? Why did they condemn to death the one who is the life of all? Great is the marvel, the creator of the world, who is delivered into the hands of lawless men, and the friend of humanity is lifted up on a cross in order to free the prisoners in Hades, who cry to him, long-suffering Lord, glory to you.
For with the Lord there is mercy, and with him is abundant redemption. He shall redeem Israel from all his transgressions. The blameless virgin was watching as you were suspended on the cross today, O word of God. She lamented with mighty emotions and is cruelly
my somewhere has a handsome side of you said, I cannot bear to see you unjustly crucified. So hurry and rise again, so that I may see your resurrection from the dead on the third day.
For his mercy rules over us, the truth of the Lord endures forever. Today the Master of creation stands before Pilate. The Creator of all is delivered to be crucified. Like a lamb he is brought of his own will to the cross. He is fixed with nails, he is pierced in the side, and he sips from the sponge, he who caused the manna to rain down of old. The Redeemer of the world is smitten on the cheek. The Maker of all is mocked by his own servants. Such is the Master's love for humanity. He prayed to his Father for those who crucified him, and he said, Forgive them this sin, for the lawless do not know what they are unjustly doing.
Glory to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit. Oh, how could that unlawful synagogue condemn to death the King of all creation, with no regard for the good things that he had done for them? In his own defense, he reminded them of all of these, and he said to them, My people, what did I do for you? Did I not fill Judea with miracles? Did I not raise the dead with but a word? Did I not cure every sickness and disease? And what do you give me in return? Why do you
They divided my garments among themselves, and for my clothing they cast lots.
They divided my garments among themselves, and for my clothing they cast lots. O God, my God, hear me. Why have you forsaken me? They divided my garments among themselves, and for my clothing they cast lots.
Wisdom,
Reading is from the book of Exodus.
let us be attentive.
Thus the Lord spoke to Moses face to face, as a man speaks to his friend. Then he would return to the camp, but his servant Joshua, the son of Nun, a young man, did not depart from the tabernacle. Then Moses said to the Lord, Behold, you say to me, Bring up this people, but you have not let me know whom you will send with me. Yet you have said, I know you above all, and you have also found grace in my sight. Now therefore I pray, if I have found grace in your sight, reveal yourself to me, that I may see you clearly and find grace in your sight, and know that great nation is your people. So he said, I myself will go before you and give you rest. And he said to him, If you yourself do not go up with us, do not bring us up from here. For how then will it be known that your people found and I found grace in your sight, except you go with us? So both I and your people shall be glorified beyond all the nations of the earth. The Lord then said to Moses, I will also do this thing you have spoken, for you have found grace in my sight, and I know you above all. Moses replied, Reveal yourself to me. And God said, I will pass before you in my glory, and I will proclaim my name, the Lord, before you. I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy, and I will have compassion on whom I will have compassion. He said, You cannot see my face, for no man can see my face and live. Moreover, the Lord said, Here is a place by me. You shall stand on the rock. So it shall be, while my glory passes by, that I will put you in the cleft of the rock, and cover you with my hand while I pass by. Then I will take away my hand, and you shall see my back, and my face shall not be seen.
Let us be attentive.
O Lord, judge those who injure me, they repaid me evil for good. The reading is from the book of Job.
Let us be attentive.
Now the Lord blessed the latter days of Job more than his beginning. He had 14,000 sheep, 6,000 camels, 1,000 yoke of oxen, and 1,000 donkeys. He also had 7 sons and 3 daughters, and he named the first Day, and the second Cassia, and the third Alamathias, Horn. In all the land there were found no women so beautiful as the daughters of Job, and their fathers gave them an inheritance among their brothers. After this affliction, Job lived 170 years, and all the years he lived were 248. And Job saw his children and grandchildren for 4 generations. So Job died old and full of days. It is written that he will rise with those whom the Lord resurrects. This man is described in the Syriac book as living in the land of Osisas, on the border of Edom and Arabah. Previously his name was Jehovah, and he took an Arabian wife and begot a son named Enon. But he himself was the son of his father Zerah, one of the sons of Esau, and his mother Osora. Thus he was the fifth son of Abraham. The reading is
Wisdom.
Reading is from the prophet Isaiah.
Let us be attentive.
Thus says the Lord, behold, my servant shall have wisdom, and he shall be exalted and glorified exceedingly. Just as many shall be astonished at you, so your form and glory shall be dishonored by men. Thus many nations shall marvel at him, and kings shall shut their mouth, because they to whom no report was brought concerning him shall see, and they who did not hear shall understand. O Lord, who has believed our report, and to whom was the arm of the Lord revealed? We proclaim his presence as a child, as a root in a thirsty land. He had no form of glory, and we saw him, and he had no form of beauty. But in comparison to all men, his form was lacking in honor. He was a man in suffering and knew how to bear sickness. His face was turned away, and he was dishonored and not esteemed. He bears our sins and suffers for us, yet we considered him to be in pain, suffering and ill treatment. But he was wounded because of our lawlessness. He became sick because of our sins. The chastisement of our peace was upon him, and by his bruise we are all healed. All we like sheep have gone astray. Man has gone astray in his way, and the Lord delivered him over for our sins. Although he was ill-treated, he opened not his mouth. He was led as a sheep to the slaughter, and as a lamb is silent before his shearers, so he opens not his mouth. In his humiliation his judgment is taken away, and who will declare his generation? For his life is taken from the earth, and because of the lawlessness of my people he was led to death. I will appoint evil men for his burial, and rich men for his death, because he committed no lawlessness, nor was deceit found in his mouth. The Lord wishes to cleanse him of his wound, and if you give an offering for sin, his soul shall stay a long-lived seed. The Lord wishes to take away the pain of the soul, to show him light, to form him with understanding, and to pronounce righteous the righteous one who serves many well. And he shall bear their sins. Therefore he shall inherit many, and will divide the spoil with the strong, because his soul was delivered over to death. He was considered among the lawless, and bore the sins of many, and was delivered over because of their sins. Be glad, O barren woman who does not bear. Break forth and cry out, you who are not in travail. For more are the children of the desolate than the children of the married woman.
Wisdom. Let us be attentive.
They laid me in the lowest pit, in the dark places, into the shadow of death. O Lord God of my salvation, I cry day and night before you.
Wisdom.
The reading is from Paul's first letter to the Corinthians.
Let us be attentive.
Brethren, the word of the cross is folly to those who are perishing, but to us who are being saved it is the power of God. For it is written, I will destroy the wisdom of the wise, and the cleverness of the clever I will thwart. Where is the wise man? Where is the scribe? Where is the debater of this age? Has not God made foolish the wisdom of the world? For since in the wisdom of God the world did not know God through wisdom, it pleased God through folly of what we preach to save those who believe. For Jews demand signs, and Greeks seek wisdom. But we preach Christ crucified, a stumbling block to the Jews and a folly to the Gentiles. But to those who are called, both Jews and Greeks, Christ the power of God and the wisdom of God. For the foolishness of God is wiser than men, and the weakness of God is stronger than men. For consider your call, brethren, not many of you were wise according to worldly standards, nor were many powerful, not many were of noble birth. But God chose what is foolish in the world to shame the wise. God chose what is weak in the world to shame the strong. God chose what is low and despised in the world, even things that are not, to bring to nothing that are, so that no human being might boast in the presence of God. He is the source of your life, into Christ Jesus, righteousness and sanctification and redemption. Therefore, as it is written, Let him who boasts, boast of the Lord. When I came to you, brethren, I did not come proclaiming to you the testimony of God in lofty words of wisdom, for I decided to know nothing among you except Christ and him crucified.
Peace be to you, the reader.
Alleluia, alleluia, hallelujah. Aid me, O God, for the waters flow to my soul. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah.
They gave me gold for my food, and they gave me vinegar for my drink.
Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Let their eyes be darkened so that they may not see and bend down their backs continually. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah.
Illumine our hearts, we ask for those mankind, the pure light of your divine knowledge, and open the eyes of our mind, and understanding of your gospel teaching. And cleanse also the fear of your blessed commandments, that trampling down all carnal desires into our spiritual manner of living, with thinking doing only as soon as well pleasing to you. For you are the leader of our souls and lives, Lord Jesus Christ, and you describe glory, your Father from everlasting, your all holy living Spirit now and ever, and to the ages of ages.
Amen.
Wisdom rises, hear the holy gospel, peace be with all.
And with your spirit.
Reading from the holy gospel according to Saint Matthew.
Glory to you, O Lord, glory to you.
Let us be attentive. At that time, the chief priests and the elders of the people took counsel against Jesus to put him to death. And they bound him and led him away and delivered him to Pilate the governor. When Judas, his betrayer, saw that he was condemned, he repented and brought back the 30 pieces of silver to the chief priests and elders, saying, I have sinned in betraying innocent blood. They said, why does not to us? See to it yourself. And throwing down the pieces of silver in the temple, he departed, and he went and hanged himself. But the chief priest, taking the piece of silver, said, it is not lawful to put them into the treasury, since they are blood money. They took counsel and bought with them the potter's field to bury strangers in. Therefore that field has been called the field of blood to this day. Then was fulfilled what had been spoken by the prophet Jeremiah, saying, they took the 30 pieces of silver, the price on him whom the price had been set by some of the sons of Israel, and they gave them for the potter's field, as the Lord had directed me. Now Jesus stood before the governor, and the governor asked him, are you the king of the Jews? Jesus said, you have said so. But when he was accused by the chief priests and elders, he made no answer. And Pilate said to him, do you not hear how many things they testify against you? But he gave him no answer, not even to a single charge. So the governor wondered greatly. Now at the feast, the governor was accustomed to release from the crowd any one prisoner whom they wanted. And they had then a notorious prisoner called Barabbas. So when they had gathered, Pilate said to them, whom do you want me to release for you, Barabbas or Jesus, who is called Christ? For he knew that it was out of envy that they had delivered him up. Besides, while he was sitting on the judgment seat, his wife sent word to him, have nothing to do with that righteous man, for I have suffered much over him today in a dream. Now the chief priests and the others persuaded the people to ask for Barabbas and destroy Jesus. The governor again said to them, which of the two do you want me to release for you? And they said, Barabbas. Pilate said to them, then what shall I do with Jesus who is called Christ? They all said, let him be crucified. And he said, why, what evil has he done? But they shouted all the more, let him be crucified. So when Pilate saw that he was gaining nothing, but rather that a riot was beginning, he took water and washed his hands before the crowd, saying, I am innocent of this man's blood, see to yourselves. And all the people answered, his blood be on us and on our children. Then he released from them Barabbas, having scourged Jesus, delivered him to be crucified. Then the soldiers of the governor took Jesus into the praetorium, and they gathered the whole battalion before him, and they stripped him and put a scarlet robe upon him, and plaiting a crown of thorns, they put it on his head, and put a reed in his right hand. And kneeling before him, they mocked him, saying, "Hail, King of the Jews!" And they spat upon him, and took the reed, and struck him on the head. And when they had mocked him, they stripped him of the robe, and put his own clothes on him, led him away to crucify him. And as he went out, they came upon a man of Cyrene, Simon by name. This man they compelled to carry his cross. And when they came to a place called Golgotha, which means a place of the skull, they offered him wine to drink mingled with gall. But when he tasted, he would not drink it. And when they had crucified him, they divided his garments among them by casting lots. Then they sat down and kept watch over him there. Over his head they put the charge against which read, "This is Jesus, the King of the Jews." The two robbers were crucified with him, one on the right and one on the left. One of the criminals who were hanged railed at him, saying, "Are you not the Christ? Save yourself and us." But the other rebuked him, saying, "Do not fear God, since you are under the same sentence of condemnation, and we indeed justly, for we are receiving the due reward of our deeds, but this man has done nothing wrong." And he said, "Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom." And he said to him, "Truly I say to you, today you will be with me in paradise." And those who passed by derided him, wagging their heads and saying, "You who would destroy the temple and build it in 3 days, save yourself. If you are the Son of God, come down from the cross." So also the chief priests and the scribes and others mocked him, saying, "He saved others, he cannot save himself. He is the King of Israel, let him come down now from the cross, and we will believe in him. He trusts in God, that God deliver him now, if he desires him, for he said, 'I am the Son of God.'" And the robbers who were crucified with him also reviled him in the same way. Now from the 6th hour there was darkness over all the land till the 9th hour. And about the 9th hour Jesus cried out with a loud voice, "Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani," that is, my God, why have you forsaken me?" And some of the bystanders hearing it said, "This man is calling Elijah." And one of them at once ran and took a sponge full with vinegar and put it on a reed and gave it to him to drink. But the other said, "Wait, let us see whether Elijah will come and save him." And Jesus cried out again with a loud voice, and yielded up his spirit. And behold, the curtain of the temple was torn in two from top to bottom, and the earth shook, and the rocks were split. The tombs were opened, and many bodies of the saints who had fallen asleep were raised. And coming out of the tomb after his resurrection, they went into the holy city and appeared to many. And the centurion and those who were with him, keeping watch over Jesus, saw the earthquake and what took place. They were filled with awe and said, "Truly, this was the Son of God." Since it was a day of preparation, in order to prevent the bodies from remaining on the cross on the Sabbath, for that Sabbath was a high day, the Jews asked Pilate that their legs might be broken, and that they might be taken away. So the soldiers came and broke the legs of the first and of the other who had been crucified with him. But when they came to Jesus and saw that he was already dead, they did not break his legs. One of the soldiers pierced his side with a spear, and at once there came out blood and water. He who saw it has borne witness, and his testimony is true, and he knows that he tells the truth, that you also may believe. For these things took place, that the scripture might be fulfilled, not a bone of him shall be broken. And again, another scripture says, they shall look on him whom they have pierced. There were also many women there, looking on from afar, who had followed Jesus from Galilee, ministering to him. Among them were Mary Magdalene, Mary, the mother of James and Joseph, and the mother of the sons of Zebedee. When it was evening, there came a rich man from Arimathea named Joseph, who also was a disciple of Jesus. He went to Pilate and asked for the body of Jesus. Then Pilate ordered it to be given to him, and Joseph took the body and wrapped it in a clean linen shroud. And laid it in his own new tomb, which had been hewed in the rock. And he rolled a great stone to the door of the tomb and departed. Mary Magdalene and the other Mary were there, sitting opposite the sepulchre. Glory to your forbearance, Lord. Glory to you. Let us say with all our soul, with all our mind, let us say,
Lord, have mercy.
Lord Almighty God, our God, we pray you, hear us and have mercy.
Lord, have mercy.
Have mercy, God, for your mercy, pray you, hear us and have mercy.
Lord, have mercy. Lord, have mercy. Lord, have mercy.
Let us pray for pious and Orthodox Christians.
Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison.
And we pray for Metropolitan Gerasimos.
Lord, have mercy. Lord, have mercy. Lord, have mercy.
And we pray for our brethren, the priests, hierarchs, and hierarchies, and monastics, for all our brotherhood in Christ.
Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison.
And we pray for mercy, like peace, health, salvation, protection, forgiveness, and remission of sins, the service of all pious Orthodox Christians residing and visiting in the city, the parishioners, the members of the parish council, the stewards, and the benefactors of this holy church.
Lord, have mercy. Lord, have mercy. Lord, have mercy.
Again, we pray for the blessed of our founders of this holy church, for all our fathers and brethren who fallen asleep before us, who hear of repentance, piously laid to rest, as well as the Orthodox everywhere.
Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison.
And we pray
Memory eternal.
And we pray for those who bear fruit and works this holy and church, for those who labor, for those who sing, for the people who are present, with thy great and rich mercy.
Lord, have mercy. Lord, have mercy. Lord, have mercy.
For you are merciful God and love mankind, you have glory to the Father, the Son, and the Spirit, now and ever, and to the ages of ages.
Amen. O Lord, keep us this evening without sin. Blessed are you, O Lord, God of our fathers, and praised and glorified in your name to the ages. Amen. O Lord, let your mercy be upon us, for we have set our hope in you. Blessed are you, O Lord, teach me your commandments. Blessed are you, Master, grant me understanding of your commandments. Blessed are you, Holy One, enlighten me with your commandments. Lord, your mercy is forever. Do not despise the works of your hands. To you is due praise, to you is due song, to you is due glory, to the Father, and through the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, now and forever, and to the ages of ages. Amen.
Let us continue to remain in prayer to the Lord.
Lord, have mercy.
Help us, save us, have mercy, protect us, O God, by your grace.
Lord, have mercy.
Not holy and perpetually peaceful and sinless, let us ask the Lord.
Grant this, O
Angels,
Lord.
faithful guide and guard our souls and bodies, let us ask the Lord.
Grant this, O Lord.
Pardon us for our sins and transgressions, let us ask the Lord.
God, us to pity him.
Now it's been beneficial for our souls, for peace, for the world, let us ask the Lord.
God, us to pity him.
Lead through entire life of peace, through repentance, let us ask the Lord.
Grant this, O Lord.
Let us ask for Christian into our life, peace without shame and suffering, for good defense through the awesome judgment seat of Christ.
Grant this, O Lord.
Pray most holy, most pure, most blessed, glorious, daily, over spirit, all the saints,
Save us.
and ourselves with our whole life to Christ our God.
To you, O Lord.
You, O God, are good, loving, kind. You, we offer glory, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, now and ever, and to the ages of ages.
Amen.
Peace be with all.
And with your spirit.
Let us bow our heads to the Lord.
To you, O Lord.
Lord God, you have bowed the heavens, came down, salvation of mankind. Look upon your servants, upon your inheritance. For to you, the fearful judge, you love mankind, and your servants bow their heads and incline their necks, awaiting not help from any human help, but awaiting your mercy, looking for your salvation. Guard them at every moment during this present evening, the approaching night, from every foe, every hostile operation, devil, from vain thoughts and evil desires. May the mighty King be blessed and glorified of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, now and ever, and to the ages of ages.
Amen. Joseph took you down from the cross after you had died and prepared for you a cross for burial. Using myrrh, he wrapped you in a shroud, O life of all, and constrained by his ardent love, he longed to embrace you, pressing to your spotless body his own heart and lips. But restrained by fear and by reverence, joyously he cried to you, glory to your condescension, Lord who loved mankind.
The Lord reigns with himself with majesty, the Lord is Lord and girded himself with power. When you, the Redeemer of the world, lay inside a new vacant sepulchre for the sake of all. Here you now humiliated cowards say you, then as far and the gates were shattered and broken, tombs were opened and the bodies of the dead arose. Then the first born Adam, rejoicing gratefully, cried unto you, glory, your condescension, Lord, who love mankind.
Praise established the world that shall never be moved. When you had been physically enclosed in the tomb of your own volition, remaining undefined, defined in the nature of your Godhead, and uncircumscribed, then you closed down the prison house of death, and you emptied all the royal treasuries of Hades, O my Christ. Thus did you bestow on this Sabbath the divine blessing and glory, and you honored it with your own radiance.
Holiness is proper to your house, O Lord, unto length of days. When the host of angels had beheld you being maligned by the lawless as a deceiver, O Christ, and the tombstone being sealed by the hands that had pierced your immaculate side, O Lord, They shuddered and marveled at your great, indescribable long-suffering. Yet for her salvation rejoicing, they cried out to you, saying, Glory to your condescension, Lord, who loves mankind.
Glory to the Father,
and to
the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, both now and ever, and unto ages of ages. Amen.
You cover yourself with light as with a garment. Were taken down from the cross by Joseph with the help of Nicodemus. When they saw you dead, naked and unburied, he took up a moving lamentation, and stricken with grief he said, Alas, so sweet as Jesus, when the sun saw you hanging on the cross just a little while ago, it wrapped itself in darkness, and out of you the earth was quaking, and the curtain of the temple was torn in two. And now I see you voluntarily undergoing death for me. How am I to bury you, oh my God? How can I wrap you in a shroud? With what hands shall I touch your immaculate body? Or what songs should I be singing at your departure, tender, loving Lord? I magnify your passion, and I extol your burial and your resurrection as I cry out, Oh Lord, glory to you.
Lord, now lettest thou thy servant depart in peace, according to thy word. For mine eyes have seen thy salvation, which thou hast prepared before the face of all people, a light to lighten the Gentiles, and the glory of thy people Israel.
Holy God, holy mighty, holy immortal, have mercy.
Holy God,
God, holy mighty,
holy merciful,
have mercy on us. Holy God, holy mighty,
holy immortal, have mercy on us.
glory to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit.
Both now and ever, into ages and ages. Amen. All holy Trinity, have mercy on us. Lord, forgive our sins. Master, pardon our transgressions. Holy One, visit and heal our infirmities.
Glory to the Father, and to the Son, Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil.
And as the kingdom, the power, and the glory of the Father, and the Holy Spirit, now and ever, and to the ages of ages.
Amen.
The pious Joseph brought down thy most pure body from the tree, wrapped it in pure linen, embalmed it with ointment, arrayed it and laid it in the new tomb. Verily the angel came to the tomb and said to the ointment-bearing women, ointment is meet for the dead, but Christ hath shown himself to be free from corruption. Wisdom,
Father, bless.
blessed be Christ, our God, always, now, and ever, into the ages of ages.
Amen.
Make firm, Lord our God, the holy, pure faith of the pious Orthodox Christians, together with the Holy Church and the city forever.
Amen.
Most Holy Theotokos, save us.
Greater in honor than the cherubim, and more glory, greater glory, beyond compare than the seraphim. You without corruption gave birth to God the Word, and our truly Theotokos, you do be magnified.
Lord, you Christ our God, and our hope, glory to you.
Glory to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, both now and ever, to the ages of ages. Amen. Lord have mercy, Lord have mercy, Lord have mercy. Father, bless.
May he who for us men and for our salvation voluntarily endured the awful passion, the cross, the burial, Christ our true God, intercession is all pure, all immaculate Holy Mother, by the power of the precious and life-giving cross, by the protection of the honorable bodiless powers of heaven, supplication of the glorious prophet and foreigner John the Baptist, of the holy, glorious, and praiseworthy apostles, of the holy, glorious, and triumphant martyrs, our righteous and God-bearing fathers, of our patron St. Gregory, who is a protector of this holy community, of the holy, righteous of God, Joachim and Anna, and of all the saints, have mercy and save us, for he is good and loves mankind. The prayers of the Father, the Lord Jesus Christ, have mercy upon us, and save us.
Amen.
Most blessed Good Friday afternoon to all, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the camera so you can have a virtual embrace of the tomb, you know, because this is we're very grateful that we're able to at least continue the services and that you're supporting us in doing this, and that, you know, it might not be as fancy as in years past, but thank God, you know, even if it's just the one or two gathered together in his name to glorify him, to represent all those whom we represent today, those who took Christ down from the tree and laid him in the tomb, the ones who loved him in such a sacrificial way. We're very grateful for that. So may God bless you all. Tonight from 6:30 p.m. we'll be live streaming the evening matins with the lamentations of the tomb, the hymns we all love to sing. And of course we're not going to be able to carry the whole thing because it'll be just the 3 or 4 of us, but I will carry the cloth, the beautiful icon of Christ entombed for our procession. And we'll walk under that, and we will thank God. And may God be with you again. I'm available now between services in the evenings and in the mornings. Tomorrow morning will be the hidden apostasy, the liturgy of the myrrh-bearing women in the morning from 9 o'clock. And we'll be live streaming all of that. Hope that you can join us. May God bless and keep you. This I'm going to take you for a walk here so you can venerate the tomb. See if we can get the music for Pius Joseph. The music we just did. The song we just sang, the Pius Joseph. The thing we just sang. The Pius Joseph. The pious Joseph brought down thy pure body from the tree, wrapped it in pure linen, embalmed it with ointment, arrayed it and laid it in a new tomb. Verily the angel came to the tomb and said to the ointment-bearing women, ointment is meet for the dead, but Christ hath shown himself to be free from corruption. I'm very grateful for this time of the season because we're surrounded by all the saving things that have happened. The icons are accumulating. Just yesterday morning we had the liturgy of the Mystical Supper. Here's our Lord crucifixion we celebrated last night and this morning. You have the healing saints, Panteleimon. Haralampos is looking over us during this time of the plague and the empty cross now. And I will now, after the service is when I go and I actually put the Christ is wrapped up on the altar there, and I put him behind the altar, and he stays there until the Ascension. And you see the empty cross now. Also, you might want to know this, it reminds me of the fact that he is everywhere filling all things. On the altar, let me see if I can zoom it from here. You see on the altar, on the left-hand side there, above Christ, that is the holy gifts. On Holy Thursday morning, the liturgy of the Mystical Supper, I actually prepare an extra lamb, like I would for a pre-sanctified liturgy. But it's there now for about, a week to dry out, and I break it up, and that becomes the reserved sacrament that we keep for visiting the sick or taking to have people have communion when they can't come to church. Which, guess what? I'm almost out because it's been that kind of this year with not being able to have people come in. I've had to go visit people, so I'm just going to be using the last crumb before we have this restored, and that's what's happening even now. Is that's on the altar, being prepared for service. So, may our Lord bless and keep all of you. Again, you can call me as you need me. We'll be back to live stream the service, Lamentations 6:30 tonight. May our Lord bless and keep you.